All right, welcome back everyone to another Draft Champions League interview. Today I am joined by the managers of Infernal Armory, King L5, and Darkrai. Please introduce yourselves and let the audience know a little bit about yourselves and your history with competitive Pokemon.
Hello, it is me, King L5. I've been around for a hot minute these days. I started playing draft in I think 2016. Won my first major tournament in 2018 and have been like pretty consistently near the top of the format ever since. I kind of invented team tours in draft. I kind of brought the concept of SPL over to the Draft League format with Draft Premier League. We've been running that since 2018, or was it 2017 in December? Whatever. It's been a long time. In that time, we built up quite the community of like draft veterans, ORAS, Sun and Moon, Sword Shield, and then Scarlet Violet just came out this past season. So that's been really fun, having all of the main formats for draft. And this tour is no exception, has all of those as well as VGC. Anyways, yeah, I kind of brought the concept over to draft, and I've been participating in the tournaments for, the whole time. I've won DPL twice, I've won Clash of Kings once. My team's in very good position to win PGP this season. So if that goes through, I'll have at least one chip in every team tour I've participated in. So, yeah.
Are you done? That's a long intro.
I don't know, something about winning is such a big aspect of my life. If I were to lose, it'd be detrimental to my health.
So true. Anyways, hi guys, I'm Darkrai, or my Smogon is Professor Shuckle, and I've been playing since 2018, but I was relatively unknown until DPL Season 4, when I teamed with King L5 on Tangang, and we ended up winning, and I think I got more known in the community since then. And I've also won a couple of other team tours, namely TDT Season 4 and PWS, which had VGC and PGP. So I've been around for quite a while as well. And captaining this, which will be my second time. I've only captained once before, so hoping it goes well.
I guess continuing on your experience as a captain, L5 obviously has a ton of experience in the team tour format as a captain, and obviously you've played in a fair amount in this. You said your second time captaining. So going into the season as managers, what kind of realistic expectations do you have, or like what goals do you have going into this season?
Me personally, I want to win. I'll be trying my best here. Especially because it's a brand new tournament, I want to really put my mark on it,
Yeah, and L5 has been doing really well in the individual tours. He won the ORAS Cup, and it's time to take the next step, the next logical step, and win a team tour too. And so we would like to win, but realistically, I would say our expectations is at least playoffs. That would be pretty cool, and then go on to win the whole thing, hopefully.
Big. Any like personal goals, like I guess like records for yourself, or like maybe a greater emphasis on team support this season, etc., etc.
See, me personally, I really want to translate my recent success in individual tours into the team tour format, because as you said, I recently won the ORAS Cup. I got a finalist in the Sun and Moon Cup, got top 16 in the Sword Shield Cup. I'm currently top 8 in the winners bracket of the seasonal. Play my game for that tomorrow. But like, I've been on a hot winning streak. I'm 6-0 in PGP playing Scarlet Violet. Yeah, so like, I've been on a hot streak, and I want to see that continue into the season.
Personally, I am more like a team player, so I would rather the team win. I would try to contribute as best I can, and I think my form recently has been pretty decent. I made finals in the league, and I'm doing okay in the low tier tour and Smogon. So hoping I can continue that. But you know, I wouldn't mind like going 0-7 if that meant my team won the chip guaranteed, kind of thing. You know.
I would prefer if you didn't go 0-7 personally, but
I'll try not to.
yeah. I get what you mean though. Like you want the team to succeed above all else.
Exactly.
I guess we can move on to the next question, and this has to do with the DCL format altogether. So obviously it's a little different compared to traditional Discord draft team tours, where they've increased the regular season count to 8 games instead of 7. So it's very similar to, in this case, the DPL playoffs or TDT playoffs. But what are your thoughts on like the DCL format as a whole, and then the chosen tiers, which include Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield, Usum, Oras, and Scarlet Violet VGC?
You want to go first on this one?
Sure. So I've actually, the last time I captained was TTT Season 5, which did something similar, where they did 8 formats. And I think it's pretty cool. It does get a little taxing if you're mocking every single game. That one extra game, you do start feeling it towards the end of the season. But I do like that we added an extra Sword and Shield slot, because it is one of the newer gens. I feel like that should have always gotten more like preference compared to the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Usum. And I do like the introduction of VGC as well, because it opens up a whole new player base, as well as like managers having to do more research into, you know, figuring out VGC slots, as well as maybe learning the format to support their players, which I think is pretty cool. And then obviously I really love that, you know, it's in collaboration with Smogon as well, I think, which is pretty huge compared to like other draft tours. And that's why we have like way more signups, like record signups, I believe. So that's pretty cool as well. So like all that is just amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I am a little bit reserved about the 8 games per week on a regular season basis, because there's so much work that goes into each individual build. Yeah, it can get a little bit tiresome if you're like helping out every single matchup, mocking every single matchup. 7 is already a lot, you know what I'm saying? But with VGC being one of the slots, I'll be honest, I don't know too much about VGC myself, so I more so prefer to hand the reins off to people who actually know what they're talking about. So in a personal sense, I'm still only really looking at 7, so there is that still. I do think it's a good thing that VGC is being included, because there's not really too much opportunity for doubles players to like participate in the tournament scene that we have in draft. A lot of things are more singles focused, which makes sense. I think it's more popular for the draft format, but you know, there's definitely a community out there, and it's good to see them included. Also, double strats can get really insane, so I'll be happy to spectate, of course, and I'll learn a little bit throughout the season. But yeah, I wouldn't consider myself an expert by any means.
Yeah, imagine a series is 4-3, game 8 VGC. Imagine the team calls. Spectating that.
Yeah.
Imagine seeing Murkrow just Korean in game 8.
and you're like, oh no, they brought Murkrow. Like, oh no. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, I did forget to mention it, that the 8 games a week obviously plays into the potential of having a tie. Potentially a lot of ties during the regular season.
Yeah.
And obviously that can, you know, increase the competitiveness throughout the entirety of the season. You know, you're not going to have, I mean, you could have, you know, someone standing out on top of the standings and then someone completely on the bottom out of it, but hopefully it keeps at least 7 teams going into the last week, you know, have a chance going into the playoffs. So what are your thoughts on like the ties and all that?
A lot of times towards the end of the season, there are still 7 teams in playoffs, but the things that they need to happen to make it are like so astronomical that they're basically out anyways. So like ties can kind of like close that gap. That being said, I think we were looking at some stats with DPL playoffs because those are 8v8, and like the majorities of series are tied. So I don't know about how that's gonna translate into this. I assume it'll be pretty similar, but if you assume most games are gonna end in ties, then like getting a few wins is really impactful, and getting a few losses is really bad.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think that like it could be more entertaining, like because you're not out of it still, so you like have a chance. And if you like, again, as you said, more teams might be in like playoff contention, which could potentially be spicy for the season. So I think it's okay. Like I think the format's fine. Like it should be okay, but yeah, it might just be tiresome. That's it.
Yeah, I think it'll work out.
Yeah, it definitely can provide a little bit more motivation, especially for teams that are near the bottom. You know, they still have that hope to carry throughout the season. But yeah, I mean, even with like the 8 games, it's essentially still like 7 traditional singles games, and then the swing game, whether you tie or win a series or lose a series, is basically that VGC game. So it should be very interesting, especially since majority of the captains don't really have experience in doubles. So I'm curious how that will impact series scores as they move forward.
Well, I don't know if I really see it as like a 7+1. It's still 8 games, like no matter what. It's just winning 5 out of 8 is a lot harder than 4 out of 3.
Yeah, and I think like if you get a strong VGC player, which I guess you should be able to, because you know there's only 8 slots, so you're gonna be getting like the best of the best in the VGC because you know there's only 8 slots. Not everyone's gonna be investing heavily in it, probably. And so I think that can matter. Like if you give it the right support and your VGC slot is continuously winning, I think that can be a good thing, right? It eases some pressure on like the singles guys, where you know like singles is obviously like we know how team tours go. There's a lot like can happen, but if you can support like another slot very well and make sure you get a guaranteed win, it's always huge. So I think it'll be interesting. And I don't see it as a +1. And I think like VGC slot is also something you should focus on.
Like the explanation there. We'll move on to the next. Not really a question, but if you were to describe yourself or your style of managing in one word, what would it be?
I remember you asked me this for DPL last season. I forget what I said.
Yeah, I don't remember what most of the people said either. So
yeah.
I can go first if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with friendly. I think. I don't know if I have to explain it or just the one word. I don't know what you're looking for.
If you want to explain it, if you don't want to, you don't have to.
So the last time I captained, our server was like just vibing and like it was very friendly, and even though like we didn't make playoffs, it was a good time. And I feel like that's what I want to try and get, like make the server as friendly and like inclusive as possible, and people are just having fun. So I feel like if you're having fun, you're gonna put in the effort, and like when you win, it just amplifies that, and you know, like you just do well because you're having fun, and then you make playoffs, and then you know it keeps going. But most of all, I want it to be like a good server where everyone is having fun and like vibing and enjoying. So that's why I want to be like friendly, and yeah, I mean that's the word that came to my mind.
I mean, I have pretty similar priorities when it comes to like team culture. So I guess a word would be
I gave you time to think, man.
I know, but I've spent that whole time listening to you. Wonderful voice. Camaraderie, I'll go with. I want everyone to feel like they're, you know, working together towards a goal. Yeah, camaraderie. Everyone's there to have a good time. We're here to win.
All right, friendly and camaraderie. I like the emphasis.
So many
on,
syllables.
Yeah, I like the emphasis on team culture. I think that, at least for me personally, I emphasize that as well, or I like to emphasize that.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the most important things about a team tour.
Mm-hmm. You don't want it to be like a factory of just, pumping out builds and playing and hoping you win.
Yeah. That's what we had on Tang Gang. We had a lot of fun, and we ended up winning, which I think was like the best combination and like best result possible.
Oh yeah, that season still has some of the highlights of my draft career.
Yeah, same for me. I would love to replicate that.
All right, I guess we'll move on to the last couple questions here. But I guess going into the auction, what do you look for the most when drafting a player to your type of team?
Well, for me, it's kind of a combination of traits. You want someone who's active, or at the very least not dead, and then quality of player, like how consistent are they, what's their peaks, stuff like that. So if someone has like a really great playing ability, but they're like a little bit less active, but they're not going to be dead, I'm okay with that. But if someone's super active and like, they can usually put up a positive record, I'm also okay with that.
What would,
but like as you
I was gonna say, what would you consider like quality activity by your standards?
Quality activity, you're providing insightful input into the builds. But very important, it has to be insightful. Can't just be. I saw who was it, Rai, who said, if you're just showing up and going in the chat saying Hurricane Zapdos looks good here, okay, we already knew that, buddy. Like, didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out, huh? If you're like thinking more like top-down view of the matchup, like this Pokemon is a good wall breaker, how can I get it in? How can I manufacture advantageous positions for this Pokemon? What's the easiest move to click? If you have a really easy move to click, you can go for more choice band, choice specs kind of route for a breaker. Does SD provide a lot of value here? What if you're pairing it with this Pokemon? Like, just how am I going to weaken the counter to this? A lot of ways offensively to work together. That's my favorite part of building in draft, personally, is figuring out like how the mons work together, like opening stuff up for each other. So like, if you can go a little bit more to a deeper level with that, I really appreciate that kind of build support. But then, of course, it's really important to have people who don't look at the build beforehand and then they just build mocks blind, so you get a really authentic experience with, practicing the matchup. So overall, I'm looking for people who can help build, and also people who are, willing or able to do a lot of mocks and like actually not just meme them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then some feedback after, of course. Yeah, just being involved in some way is really important.
For myself, I think when you go into an auction, you're like trying to buy wins, basically, right? You want to get 5 wins a week is what you're aiming for. So obviously, how you get wins is you need people who are active, who have who are able to form a good game plan beforehand in prep, and then are able to execute it. And that all comes with being like active and being like involved with the team and being part of the team culture. So I feel like you're looking for people who buy into the team culture and are like there when you like to talk things through or even mock. And I know L5 has a pretty good support system of like friends who can always, provide support and mock, and like so do I. So I feel like we don't necessarily need to look for slots that are just there for mocking or support, because we have friends who can do that. So I think the important thing is like they're, contributing positively to the team, and I think that just goes a huge way in like trying to win the tour.
Makes a lot of sense. And I actually just had this come to mind. It's not written down beforehand, but obviously the minimum roster is expanded compared to, I guess, the Discord draft tours, where you need 11 players, and that includes, the captain self-buys. But teams can technically be larger, and there's no maximum limit as well. So rosters can be as large as like 20 players if you really wanted to. Do you find it difficult? Or like, do you think it'll be pretty difficult to be able to find playing time for everyone with potentially larger rosters all around?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's really hard sometimes to justify playing someone who's maybe perceived to be outside of your top 8 players. Yeah, unless someone's really struggling, you're kind of just putting them in to put them in, right? Is because you feel bad about them being benched. So that's something that I've struggled with in the past with team tours with like large rosters, and it's why I usually prefer smaller rosters these days. But 11 player minimum of us included, that's 3 people benched a week, and sometimes you can like go into a season and you have someone who like understands they're probably not going to play, but they're still a part of the team. For example, in Clash of Kings, we drafted Ghost at mid-seasons, and that was because he was a great help to us in like the prep and mocking, but we all kind of knew that he was never going to start in that season. He's improved since then, and like he's started in PGP a few times, but at the time he was more of like a support player, and that might be important to have on the main roster as well, just from the draft. Because like you really do want to spend most of your budget on quality players that can convert wins, and if you're like spreading out your funds too much, you're kind of dropping the quality of your players a little bit. And then you can only start 8 players, right? You don't like benefit from having 10 amazing players. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's like the greatest way to describe it, but I feel like you want to aim for a core of like 8 strong players, if possible.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense what you're saying.
And then a few people who are more like there to like learn more about the format and who are like really motivated and interested in improving. Someone like that is always going to be worth more than someone who's like a little bit washed, doesn't really care, but can kind of show up and play. I find the activity of those like lower budget picks is like the most important thing, and at the end of the day, it's those people that end up winning the championships, right? The impact that they have is the main difference maker, I found anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, man. Like, I don't have much to add to that. I think Alpha pretty much covered it. But yeah, even like for your min bits, I think you're trying to find players who can win and like follow a game plan. And most importantly, are like hungry to like prove themselves, because most of the time min bits are like people who just want a chance, right, to show their skill. So you got to be hungry and like active and like wait for your turn, and then when you get it, like show that you can do it on that level. And I think those players make or break a season most of the time. So I think L5 hit the nail on the head.
All right, and I guess I'll move on to the last question here. Still on the auction topic, but how confident are you guys going into this auction in terms of like your preparation? And I also want to get your thoughts on it being held on Pokemon Showdown instead of Discord.
It's a shame. No reactions. What's the point, Yeah, if I can't nom Phil and get 100 goat reacts, what are we doing? Anyways, I feel pretty confident in my ability to draft well. I don't know about Darkrai, but I've done a lot of auctions in my days, so like I have a general idea of like what kind of teams I'd like to go for, and what type of players are worth spending a lot of credits on.
I would like to think I've done my research and tried to like know who the good players are, especially from Smogon side, because I feel like L5 and I don't know a lot of the Smogon side players who signed up, and I've tried my best to get like information about them because obviously those are assets too, or potential assets. And obviously, neither of us play VGC, so I've been trying to get knowledge about the VGC base and like who are the good players, who are consistent and stuff like that. So I would like to think we've done our research, and I'm pretty confident. But obviously, right, once the auction starts, all plans go haywire, and then you're basically kind of reacting. So, hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah, generally speaking, your plans are only really good for the first round, and after that, you just kind of have to go with what's given to you.
And yeah, hopefully, the timer's gonna be a little bit more accurate, I guess, compared to a human touch doing the little countdown.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
You do need a little bit more of like preparation on the back end, just in case you get timed out or something. You don't want to miss out on a player or miss out on like your nom.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be too big of an issue. I think the main thing that'll be different is the whole process will go a lot quicker. So there's no waiting for someone to copy paste the thing and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, did that get in? Did it? No, it didn't. Just like that whole process, even though it's really fun on Discord, like some of my favorite moments are during auctions. It'll be a lot quicker, easier, kind of more seamless, if you know what I mean there.
Yeah, from like an organizer standpoint, it's going to be a little bit more professional, a lot quicker. But like from a viewer perspective, it's going to be a lot different. The no reactions obviously plays into that.
A little bit sleeper, but that's okay.
Hopefully there's bingo cards still, though.
I'm sure there will be bingo cards.
Yeah, hopefully. Those are always fun.
There's no bingo card, the tour is dead to me. I don't know.
That's real.
But yeah, I guess I'll finish it off with these lightning round questions. You probably have seen these in the other two interviews. Yeah. But yeah, I just do it to kind of do it for fun, and people can kind of see like a little bit of what each captain prefers over the other. But yeah, why don't I start it off with Scald or Knockoff?
Knockoff.
Knock for sure.
All right. Hurricane or Air Slash?
Hurricane. Unless you're Theo. If you're Theo, you can use Air Slash and get away with it. That's the only person.
Hurricane.
Toxic or Will-O-Wisp?
Ooh. I think Will-O-Wisp for me.
I think if you asked me this like 2 or 3 years ago, I'd say Toxic, but these days Wisp is just better.
All right. U-turn or Baton Pass?
Well, one of them's banned, so disqualified.
U-turn.
I think
U-turn.
I think Dry Pass is actually allowed in DCL, is it not?
I think it is.
U-turn's better anyways.
Yeah, you do damage.
I was a little memeing.
High jump kick or Steel Beam?
HJK.
I think Steel Beam is cooler, so Steel Beam.
Steel Beam's cooler, but viability-wise,
I don't know. I still prefer Steel Beam.
I hate high jump kick, so I'm with you there. Rapid Spin or Defog?
This gen, Spin, because you get the speed boost. It's like more versatile.
I think Rapid Spin, because I think the mons are also better than Rapid Spin.
That's facts, yeah.
All right. Stealth Rocks or Spikes?
Rocks, easily.
Rock. Yeah.
Regenerator or Magic Guard?
Regenerator. Best ability in the
My
game.
boy. This guy is addicted to unaware clef, so he doesn't even understand. Yeah, Magic Guard. That's for me.
Regen. Best ability in the game.
Alright, Z moves or Terastallization?
The Terra is way cooler in my opinion.
I think Terra just because it has defensive utility too.
Alright, and then the last one, Lefable or Garchomp?
Lefable. Easy.
That's my boy Garchomp. Hey yo!
That's my boy Clefable. Nope.
Have you ever used Magic Guard Clefable?
I did in LVI, like the tournament. The one game I should have taken Unaware, I took Magic Guard. But every other game I should have taken Magic Guard, I took Unaware. So I'm just like a bit of a silly goose, as Alpha would say.
I would say that, yeah. Nah, Garchomp, he's been like consistently one of the best mons in draft since draft existed. So
And he just got better too. He got the
yeah.
Are they?
They saw Garchomp struggle a little bit, and they were like, "Yeah, you can have your toys back."
Is he? I don't actually know if he's gonna be. Is he gonna be Terra banned, or is Terra gonna be allowed on?
For sure, Terra banned.
Do we know for sure? Because
I mean,
yeah, hopefully.
Skill shot.
Yeah, with Terra.
Yeah, toss a Terra Fairy on that boy. Unstoppable.
I hope it's Terra banned.
But yeah, that's all the questions I have. I appreciate you guys coming on and participating. And is there any last words you have for a potential pool of players you might draft and stuff?
Oh, why would we leak that? Silly goose.
Yeah. I was just gonna say thank you for hosting us. You're a wonderful host. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the best host of this whole YouTube channel.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Sean.
My hobby YouTube channel. But yeah,
going pro soon. we got to get the numbers up first. That's okay.
I got to get an actual mic before I do that. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you. For those who are still here watching, if you want to sign up, signups are open until Saturday, 10 a.m. EST, September 16th. You can find a link to the signups in the description below. But yeah, the auction will be Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, or GMT -4 for non-Americans. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next interview.